Hey everybody, it's Brendon Burchard, founder of GrowthDay, and I just had the opportunity to sit down with Matthew McConaughey to have a wide-ranging conversation about self-improvement, his life, his book Green Lights, and his upcoming live free event called The Art of Living. The Art of Living is happening April 24th with my friends Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins and others that will really give you an inspirational look into how you can find what Matthew calls green lights in your life. You know, how do you find more of those times where you make the right decision and you speed on through? How do you recognize the yellow lights and the red lights of life so you make the right decisions? And I know you're gonna love that event. I had such a good time sitting down and having this conversation with Matthew. I know you'll enjoy the interview plus the art of living. So go to growthday.com/art of living. And with no further ado, please enjoy this conversation with Matthew McConaughey. That's good, right?
California dreaming.
Okay. So this morning,
Yeah.
I'm out on the water. I got a coffee. I got an egg sandwich.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this couple stroll by. It looks like they're on vacation. Guy goes out to the edge of the water, and there's like some coral or rocks or something out there.
Yeah.
And I watch and I go, he's gonna step out. He's gonna step out. And sure enough, he does. He steps out, steps on the first rock, just rips his ankle. Rips his ankle, looks back, oh, like this, and looks at his wife, and he's like, and he kind of hobbles in laughing at himself, and she's like, oh, why do you gotta do that? What do you think it is about human behavior that we gotta go to the edge and take that extra step? Because sometimes we take that extra step and you discover new worlds.
Yeah.
Other times you take that
Fall
extra
on your
step
ass.
and you fall on your ass, rip your ankle out.
Yeah. We want to find out. Want to see what we can pull off. As we growing up and even getting older, you have another means of doing it to go like, I did that when I was young, I'll do it again now. And then there comes a time where you go, the body isn't keeping up with the mind. It makes complete sense to me. How am I not making that look as easy as I did once before? I mean, to find out and to see if you can pull it off. Because you do. When you do pull it off, especially when the rule book or the world or the age group or the scenario says, beware, don't step on that rock. And then you go, I've been on those rocks. I grew up on those rocks. I'll do these rocks. And you pull it off. You're like, I am not the status quo. I am not, no, we are not all created equal. I can handle these rocks, and I knew I could. And I think that's part of the enjoyment is that, and I would also say that I think that's part of, we all got to watch that because there is a lot of stuff the world tells us. Here's the lid, here's the roof. From this year's to this year's, you do that, but after that, you don't. And it's not a one-size-fits-all program. So we like to go test it, and it feels really good, but you're like, I knew I could. Now, when you're young, you get away with stuff out of ignorance.
Right.
You pull stuff off because you didn't know better.
Yeah.
Part of the challenge of getting older is you kind of know better, but you want to go see if you can pull it off anyway.
I think the guy knew. I think when he turned his ankle, he kind of went like this, looked back at his spouse, kind of like, I know I shouldn't have, but I had to.
Well, he's got his action sequence for the day.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
He's got his
he
action
doesn't have to go to the gym this evening.
That's right.
He had his action sequence
That's right.
this morning.
Because when I think of you, and this is my assumption, but I see you as some of that go out beyond the outer limit. Okay, the boundary is here. This is what normal people might stop about. I'm going to go beyond. Oh, I have a dream to go to this place. I'm just going to go. I'm going to go into this role that might be a little bit risky. It's like that willingness to go in a direction or in a place or step into something that maybe you don't know how it's going to go. And I think that a lot of people admire you for that, but also wonder where does that adventure spirit come from? Not a lot of people RV around the country and between movies. Yeah. So what gives the adventurous spirit that you seem to have, but maybe you even crave it?
Part of it is I do like to find out. Not finding out keeps me up at night. More so than slipping on the rock and failing at what I tried to find out. The not finding out, the wondering what if, the damn it I didn't open my mouth, the damn it I didn't shut my mouth sometimes, the damn it I didn't go find out. There was an opportunity and I hesitated, and just when I hesitated and said, well, maybe I will, it was too late. The not finding out keeps me up at night. Kind of always has. The desire to pull things off, I do like to see if I can pull it off. I'm still, to this day, will, out of the car, instead of 2 bags of groceries, I'll try and get 1, 2, 3, 4, just to go up the steps, and I'm going to open the door with my foot, and then I'm going to kick it back with my elbow. And when I pull it off, I'm like, see that? I did it one trip. Everyone said it was going to take 3.
Yeah.
I like to pull stuff off.
Yeah. Is it a nature of challenging yourself so you can see, or proving yourself so you can show?
No, it always starts subjectively. I want to see if I can pull it off. Mm-hmm. Now, as I'm starting to land the plane and pull it off, I might get objective and go, everyone see, want to get the approval, make sure the kid, we all watching Popeye here, I'm pulling that, But as you all know, if you get in, that's the third person. That's the Jumbotron that we look at when we're running down the field, running the kickback, right? Yeah. In a football game to score the touchdown.
Yeah.
That's when you get tackled. So the behavior is very subjective.
Yeah.
Selfishly, I want to see if I can do it. And it's not till close to the end. I don't want to, if I've done that too, halfway through, I'm pulling this off. Everyone check this out. Well, that's when I fumble the groceries.
Right.
You know what I mean? So make sure you kind of landed, or you've got the plane landed, or you've almost got it pulled off before you make sure everyone's watching to get approval. And I think, look, the other thing is this. Sometimes, like Mali, Africa, I won't tell the whole story, but I had that story where I got challenged to a wrestling match by the village champion. Mm-hmm. My heartbeat started racing. In this ear was like, are you kidding me? No way.
Yeah.
In this ear was, are you kidding me? You gotta find out, buddy. Yeah. And as I'm getting up, this one's going, no. This one's going, it's at least gonna be a great story. And I'm like, so I've done stuff where I go, I don't know, man, but I'm gonna find out. And at the very least, if I fall on my backside, so it's at least going to be a good story.
Yes. Yes.
And I've got a lot of stories that I like to tell, and I love hearing stories from people. And it's not the ones where you pull it off that are fun. It's for some of the funnest ones that are where you fell on your ass.
Right.
But you tell the story, and you're the brunt of the joke.
Yes.
And it's, so.
A lot of people can't do that, though. They have that fear of failure, especially people seeing them, because people's 4 primary fears I teach. I'm fearful I'm going to be ruined. I'm going to be rejected.
Okay.
I'm going to have regret.
Okay.
Or I'm going to have more responsibility than I can handle.
Oh, that's a cool one. That's a cool one.
And that rejection part of like, wow, I'm so scared to be seen dropping the groceries or twisting my ankle or taking the role that I bomb and I don't win the award on. Yeah. Like, how do you get that? I think we live in a culture right now where people can be tepid and they have the dream, but that courage to want to find out, it might even actually be there. Because a lot of people, man, they got the vision boards, they got the journals, they got the dreams, but stepping out and being seen falling down, failing. You and I, we make a joke about it, probably because where we come from and our parents a little bit. But how do you, like, let's say your children are coming up and they don't take that risk. They don't put themselves out.
I would say that sense of humor of making a joke about it is part of what people, if you fear rejection, need to go. The ruining part is usually never what happens.
Right. Yeah. That's catastrophizing.
That's like, it's going to be no, it's not.
Yeah.
When you do bust your ass going after something and you give your best effort, when you go down, those people that are so-called rejecting you usually are on the sidelines for a reason with the whistle in their mouth, refereeing the thing. The ones that you kind of want to be with are usually right there next to you going, hey, hop up, I slipped on that rock too.
Right.
So you got to pick your crowd, and I think this idea that I love chasing unanimous. It's my favorite word, my favorite ambition, perfection. I'm smart enough to know I ain't gonna reach it.
Right.
It's impossible. So I think that wanting absolute unanimous approval, it's not happening. What's that Sammy Davis Jr. line? I don't know what success is, but I know what failure is. It's trying to please everybody.
Yes.
So the rejection part, I think, is a part of going, no, that's going to be part of it, bro. Let's just look at that as a mean of life.
Right. Don't be surprised when it happens.
It's not a debit. Don't look at it as like a debit. Oh. No. The ruining would be a debit, but that's just us exaggerating the tragedy that doesn't happen. As my buddy says in Alabama, I've had thousands of crises in my life, and most of them never happened. You know what I mean? That's that ruining.
Right.
No, it's not ruined. So usually what we think is going to be ruined is basically just a rejection.
Yeah.
And a rejection is, if we're looking at it eye to eye, going, oh, this is part of life.
Hmm.
I suffer from this when things are going well and I'm getting what I want and I'm succeeding. I have a tendency to think, this is how life is supposed to be. This is the mean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. Enjoyed that up there. That's when I talk about the art of running downhill. You're running downhill, bro. Don't trip yourself because the incline's coming. Uphill will come.
Yes.
So don't think that this is just the mean, because if you think that when everything's going perfectly, you're like, ta-da, I got it. I found my frequency. It's so easy. I'll never get in a rut again. False. Mm-hmm. And then when you do, you think, oh, I failed. I'm ruined. And you're like, no, you were exaggerating the realities of life. You were living like it was you were living in heaven on earth, but that wasn't sustainable forever.
Right. Right.
So when you fall, you slip on the rock, instead of going, oh God, I failed, you go, no, I slipped on a rock.
Part of the step.
Part of the step.
Part of the process.
So where do we go here? And how quickly can we then go, fuck, I think I fall on a rock. That's a really good tool.
Yes.
I think sense of humor is undersold.
I love this.
As a means of not denying.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what a lot of people say. Well, what you're laughing at that. So are you just brushing it over like it doesn't? No, I'm not brushing it over.
Take
I'm
it seriously.
Dealing with it.
Yeah. Matthew, take it seriously. This was a fail. You
Right.
should wait, why are you laughing? You should take this so seriously. This is your career, Matthew.
Yeah, don't you understand? If you did this over and over and over, you would be ruined. And I'm
Yeah.
going, well, I don't plan on doing it over and over. I'm not trying to make a habit of it.
Right.
I saw the rock was mossy. I don't know why I stepped on the green one instead of the black one that didn't have moss on it, but I did and I slipped. I'm going to go back and not try to step on the same thing and slip. I'm not looking to fail.
Yeah. Can you remember a time where that became a conscious practice? So for example, when I was growing up, everybody in my peer group, we made fun of each other. We beat each other up. It was a very blue collar, beat yourselves up, make fun of everybody.
Yeah.
But because we're all poor, we're in it together. Right. There's a camaraderie in making fun of each other. But I remember I was probably in my early 20s where I learned to do that on purpose.
Right.
I was like, you know what? If I don't have that self-deprecating nature, life is going to hurt.
Yeah.
Did you remember? Was there a time?
It was ingrained in me and with my brothers in our family. Our family was very much, if anyone was succeeded. I remember my brother Pat. He was very fast. He'd win the 100-meter dash, and he'd come home kicking his hair back. My mom would be like, "You better get off your toes, boy. Quit walking around like the cock of the walk, you know."
Yeah.
And if anybody, or if I showed up from Hollywood early and I was like, and they could see I had a little airs about me or a new certain attitude. My family is great at ripping you to the ground, slamming you to the ground until you cry uncle. And as soon as you cry uncle and go, yeah, you're right. Okay. They hoist you up and make you your favorite cocktail and favorite meal and have your arm around you and everyone laughs and you're back, man, and you're the belle of the ball.
Love it.
That was a practice early on. Yeah. Now, I do find that it took time and some tact. It does take tact with doing that with everybody because what tickled me, I found bruised others.
You can cut them. Yeah.
You know?
Feels like cutting stinging criticism to other people.
Or what was a bruise for me broke their arm. Mm-hmm. Oh, geez. I'm not being insensitive, but so we did work up calluses isn't the right word, but we worked up some sort of resistance to being like, hey, don't take that. We're gonna laugh this off.
Yeah.
And I get back up and it was always, let's go do it again. It was always get back out there. And now we're gonna tell you how much you've been kicking ass. Now we're gonna tell you how great you ran that race. But we didn't need you walking around like I am the SHIT. Now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're gonna bring you down, humble you first, make you cry uncle and admit it, and then we're gonna raise you higher than you were before.
Was there any part of that humility and humor that stopped what we would call in the high performance research in my world of stop the integration of the wins? Meaning you actually are succeeding and you are getting better, but there's a part of you like, I can't be on my toes, Mom. You know, that part where you would be holding a sense of pride for achieving something.
Yeah.
But you feel like maybe I shouldn't hold that pride because, you know, I'm going to get cut down, or maybe I shouldn't hold that pride because, you know what, I can't take myself too seriously. So you never gave yourself that internal strength.
Yes.
Did that ever happen?
Yes. Yes. Did. Look, when I first went to Hollywood and succeeded, Time to Kill, 1996, boom, big blockbuster hit. I'm the star.
How old are you?
23, I think.
Okay, 23.
Studio. I'd been in movies before. They had some form of success, but this was the first studio film where I was the guy. I understood what it was. And now all of a sudden I can greenlight movies. All of a sudden I can do any script in town. It's a term, I think, imposters complex, whatever.
Imposter syndrome. Okay.
Why me? Do I deserve this? Have I earned this? Oh man, all these people are, boy, I love you, I love you, I love you. Man, I only use that word with 4 people in my life. And this place is great, right? Or is everyone full of BS? I can't tell. I didn't know how to handle it, but I did do now that you ask, a practice that I have practiced on. I removed myself from the situation. I went on a walkabout with a backpack in Peru for 22 days.
Because you want to know yourself versus the accolades a little bit? Or?
Because that was one of the measurable things. I was getting praise from strangers. I was getting offers for career achievement from strangers. And I knew it was based off that box office did really well. I understood that I could have given the same performance, which might have been good, but if the box office didn't hit, I wouldn't have had that. So I was like, wait, there's a gap here. But I don't want to boo-hoo that box office hit really was help. And yes, you had something to do with that. But I wanted to, I needed to go to a place where no one knew my name, no one knew my fame, no one knew my celebrity, no one knew I had an $18 million opening weekend hit in a major studio blockbuster called Time to Kill. And I needed to go find a measurement again of, I've just met you, you don't know who I am, I don't know who you are. But 22 days from now when I leave, the tears that are falling from our face and the tears that are falling from your face when you hug and give me say, gracias, Mateo, and talk about the time we've had, it's all earned only from the man you met 22 days ago and what we've done and who I've been.
Yes.
And when I got that and gave that, I was like, I am responsible. I'm wagging this. I had a lot to do. I've earned whatever this accolade going back into fame where, you get lucky and things came. But I'm not a voyeur on this.
Right.
I'm the subject to this and give yourself some credit. McConaughey.
Oh my gosh. We both have a lot of, celebrity friends, I think, in common. And I think one of the things that they all struggle with is what we call in coaching, the ability to develop authentic relationships. Right. Like the trust into that. Like,
you don't
at some point you have to trust
anymore.
in it. You have to believe it. You have to go, I can do that. Yeah. With or without movie, with or without book or vlog in my world. Like, I can develop an authentic relationship with anybody, anywhere I go. That's on me. That's my character. And when you have that, there's a different lock-in of confidence, I think.
You have to, though, because what happens with fame is that all of a sudden you don't meet strangers anymore. Mm-hmm. Everyone has a bio on you, but you don't have a bio on them. Mm-hmm. So certain introductions and salutations and manners and graces are out the window. Someone comes up. I remember this. 2 days after got famous after Time to Kill, someone came up and goes, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry about Miss Hud." I don't know this person. Number one, I go, how do they know that I have a dog?
Right.
How do they know she's named Miss Hud? And how do they know she has cancer? We skipped 3 things and we haven't even said, hi, my name is.
Right. This is before green lights. That's the only reason I know from the book. It's for this interview. It's like, oh, okay. So this is before. This is
So it was shocking. And I'd be like, hi, my name is Matthew. Can we go back? I wasn't ready to just dive into, no, but I knew. Because people say, no, I know you. I see your movies. Now I've gotten, after decades of it, of going, well, let's pick up right there.
Yeah.
Let's pick up right there. But to have authentic relationship, if you choose to, it does take an extra tact in the opening round.
Yeah. Right.
Meaning, oh my God, I love the movie, you did this, and Miss Hud, good to hear Miss Hud survived that and everything, to let them go. And then you go, hi.
Right.
You got kids?
Mm-hmm.
You baseline them.
Right.
You baseline out of the fame, and you come back and they go, huh? I remember I used to do that at Hollywood parties. Everyone's brown going in this and looking at an angle, and I stop and I be, how's your family? And they go, well, what?
Uh-huh.
It's a baseline.
Yes, bring it back into their life.
Mm-hmm. Now we can talk as two humans before a celebrity and a studio head.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we can get there, but let's baseline this first.
So good.
Find a common value in something that we both have in our life that we had and have before we were ever in this business.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Start there. Now we can find some authenticity. Now we can build currency in our relationship. Even going forward, if we do work together, and I go make your movie that you're financing at Warner Brothers, now we remember that baseline and we check back in on it. There's a sobriety that I think is important.
Right. Or, literally we teach the exact same thing to executives. So you're in a power dynamic. Right. And you got that new employee coming in. It's like when there's a power dynamic and there's this presupposition of who you are, and you can open gates for them.
Yep.
You can open career ladder for them.
Yep.
You can help them with their entrepreneurial endeavor. And so you have to understand when you're in that position, if you're the boss or you're the mentor or the person more senior in the company or in that kind of entrepreneurial endeavor, you kind of meet them where they're at. And you have to bring out the humanity in people, because otherwise they're just going, can you help me? And there's no real connection there.
I hear you. I'm a CEO to many people and employees, and I know and have been told that I can be better at the simple thank yous. Again, remember I told you thinking that when everything's going well, that's the mean.
Yeah.
When people are doing a good job, I can be like, duh, that's
part of it,
where we roll. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's true to get people to invest and find meaning and want to not only pull it off for themselves, but want to go, I want to please you, man. I want to do this. And to where you go, yes, I got to watch going, I need to do more thank yous. Pointing out what you did well. That I may go, well, that's just how we do it. But point it out. Go, you know this well. You know this, but this is what I love about it. And I just want to say I recognize it. That goes a long way.
Yes.
And it's efficient. Now, on the other hand, some CEOs, you have large staff, you have thousands. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, you think, how am I going to have time to every conversation? Find a baseline, a common, and
right.
I got 8 meetings this morning and I'm still in the first one and it's lunchtime. We're grooving here, but I need more than 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
How do you do it? I've seen people do it that are very deft at doing it, and it is easier than I think. I probably think it is, or I practice it. It is easier to do.
Yeah.
But it's a real art to be able to do it because, look, I had an agent once who never once told me he had to get off the call.
Wow.
But had an art. And I know he must have been doing it like quite a few minutes before he needed to get off the call.
right.
Had an art of landing the conversation's plane to where it would seamlessly end and it was time to go just in time for his 1 o'clock. I don't know how he did it because it was seamless. Mm-hmm. And I just always applauded it. And I would always go, man, you've never said I got to go on the phone with me one time, but you always get off right on time for whatever you got to do.
This is my job as a coach. Okay. There's 60-minute sessions. And I've been doing it every week for 17 years. I got to end the call. Right. But I can't say, this story about your husband, really great, but, I got to, there has to be the elegance. And you can't be sitting
there talking going.
Right.
Because the person,
And I think that is the fluidity in that relationship with somebody, where they're a little bit more positional power, to make it feel like an elegant relationship. There's a flow there. I think you're well known for this. It's like you have a flow with people. You make them feel connected.
And do I stop and take the time with every single person that comes up to me, stranger in the airport? No, I have certain measurements of how sincere do I think they are.
Yeah.
Will I spend more time with someone who comes up and goes, McConaughey, I love this? Will I spend more time with them than if someone comes up and goes, aren't you that famous person?
Yeah.
I already know, wait, you're not really necessarily a fan of me.
Yeah.
Someone told you that guy's famous, and I'm not going to spend as much time with that person because off the bat, I'm like, it's kind of insincere. You're not coming to me for me.
Yeah.
Now that person says, I'm a fan of yours because of this book. I've had people stop me, put two hands on my shoulders and make sure I'm not going anywhere and going, Matthew McConaughey, your book, man. It did for me in my life. Thank you. And they were not asking permission to put their hands on my shoulders and turn me around. And I'm like, badass, man.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm there, taking the time. And it's and I've also been susceptible to the other side. We've all tried to handle it gracefully, and it got the leak went, and all of a sudden, I've missed my own birthday party because I got hung up talking to acquaintances that weren't even invited to the birthday party.
Right.
You know what I mean? We got to watch that too.
Yes.
I got a friend who says this, look, sometimes I have to be what's considered rude to strangers or acquaintances and say, I got to go because if I spend too much time with them, I'm being rude to my family or my employees.
Right.
So,
and there's a conscious thing that happens as an adult when you hit maturity where you realize it's actually not your responsibility to make everybody feel comfortable.
Right.
I remember I got that feeling, probably it was until my 30s, and I'd already had all these dozens of employees, and I was like, I can't. I'm one guy. I can't make everybody feel comfortable, and it's not my job either. Part of their challenge and their maturity is getting comfortable with me.
Right.
Part of their challenge is managing their own emotional regulation, not looking to me aspirationally that I will do it for them.
Right.
And that's hard when it's a celebrity thing, or that's hard when it's the boss thing. But I also, I tell a lot of my my audience they're the strivers, they're achievers, so they're also people pleasers.
Yeah.
And I have to say, you're not responsible for the train wrecks in everybody's life.
Right.
Because we want to fix, or we want to cajole, or we want to help, or we want to serve. And by the way, we have to do that. That's, I think, part of living a meaningful life. At the same time, we just can't do it for everybody. So I think it's a delicate balance, and I think you probably have to walk it even more as a tightrope than most people.
And although it can feel our ego to have someone initially living through us, it's ultimately a disservice to them to keep them disservice to them and yourself to keep them on that train. Because it's one, you end up not being able to sustain.
Yeah.
But relationships, marriages, children, fathers, mothers, business, it can feel an ego that goes like, they wouldn't be where they are without me. They have to have my approval to do what they do. But that'll run you dry, number one, but then also it'll be a disservice to them because they're just playing the loop, going through, channeling through you to get all of their sense of achievement or significance or approval. And ultimately, that's not sustainable even in the greatest marriage.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or, much less an employee-CEO relationship. It's doing a disservice to the person. There's a place we have to go, kids, do what you can for 18 years.
Right.
And then you got to go.
Yeah.
You know, if you hadn't learned it yet, I don't know. I hope we did well enough that you can go navigate.
I think one of the great things a leader has to say at some point with their people is, hey, I need you to get comfortable being here and comfortable in the discomfort.
Right.
And that's your next level of growth. It's kind of like, Jordan had to say to people as he continued playing, hey, I need you to get comfortable with me on the court. I need you to be here on the court with me. And you might have probably had this with some, fellow actors who you had to say, hey, and I need you in the scene, not seeing me as McConaughey, but I need you here. I need you.
And I've had to break that down too. And that's through my behavior in the first few days. It's also when that talk, if I'm in the scene with someone and I can tell that person's kind of maybe enamored and they're not at present because they're seeing Matthew McConaughey instead of the character, or they're seeing a famous person instead of the character, they may say something where I hear they're impressed with the fame, and I'll just undercut it and swoop under it and change the subject back to, I tell you what's really cool is now we're here. So to get them on again, ground them back to where are we baseline we can do the best work in this scene. We're not going to do the best work in this scene if you're overly impressed with me, we both have to be involved. That's what I mean in the book by less impressed, more involved.
Yes.
If I'm impressed to be here talking to you, or you're overly impressed to be here talking to me, you're not going to be as involved in the conversation.
Yes.
If I'm holding you in a reverence that is, or you're holding me in a reverence, I can have high respect.
Yeah.
But too reverential.
Yeah.
I'm just lobbing softballs or coming in and going, oh, that was great. Yeah. I'm just waxing the car, and you're just waxing it. And you're like, they didn't really have a conversation. We've all had those, and they're surface, and like it's okay for a piece of entertainment. But did anything really happen? Did we
find
walk away?
Something? Did we find something? Yeah. Like,
better, more informed, more educated? Usually not.
I love that line psychologically of less impressed, more involved. Yeah. You know, when you're thinking about that and you're diving in, how do you find that presence? Because it's very easy. I like the metaphor you were using before. Like, hey, I'm riding up here, right? I'm on the success wave right now. I can kind of ride above it all and not get into the dirt of the moment, not find mindfulness, not find groundedness. Like, what is your personal practice to go, hey, I need to get real again. I need to get my feet in the dirt. I need to be here. How do you do it? How do you do it?
Trusting that you don't get that unless you do that.
Got it.
You don't get, I know I can go back and connect the dots of when I've done the best work or had the greatest successes or got the most of what I wanted. Oh, it's not because I was down here going, no, I only want to talk about being up there. It was like, no, I was present and involved in the doing and the behavior of doing the thing, in a relationship, in a job, whatever that is, of the doing. And either that took me right there, or it was just usually a succession of, you were present again. Jesus showed up again. Jesus did it again. You do that, there is an ascension. It's not a flat line.
Yeah.
And that ascension leads to that place where you're like, rolling, man, in a Land Cruiser, man. Feet are barely off the ground. Okay. But when it's time to go to work, I learned that in Hollywood. One of the first things, make it about the work. I don't care how famous you get. It's always about the work. If you go back to the work, if you go back to the script, you can't go wrong. Nice. You can't do that too much.
Nice.
You can't go I'm too into the scene. No, there's no such thing. We could do this for a year and you still could go further. You know what I mean? So trusting that is what gets you there.
How do you do that in relationships? So like marriage, right? It's like, okay, everyone's quite impressed with themselves and their marriage, but to get more engaged when this person's upset, to get more engaged when this person isn't feeling it. They're not in the Land Cruiser, but you are. How does that work? Because I think a big piece of personal development is learning to be present with people when they're actually not on the vibe.
And you're like, how can you not be on the vibe? There's room. It's not crowded. We got to look around us. You know, sometimes it's like baseline on gratitude. Let's look around at what we got. No, it's not perfect, but let's look around. We root for each other. We love each other. I'm essentially the same man you fell in love with. You're essentially the same woman I fell in love with. But that's also can be surface because you can look around and go, what are we talking about? Meaningfulness and connectivity. You can look around and have all the things that you're like, how am I not happy? How am I not up here riding on the plane? Intellectually, you're like, I should be. But that's not the answer of, oh, no, I really am. So, look, I'm still learning this. And Camilla and I have been, had a really good marriage now for relationship with 3 kids and married, I think, 14 years. And it takes maintenance. But we want to do more. We're trying to do more than just maintain.
Right.
We're trying to thrive. And part of that is I got to be patient. She's got to be patient with, I'm essentially the same man. You're essentially the same woman, but I'm evolving on my own here.
Yes.
And I'm trying out new things because I didn't want to stay right there in my comfort zone. And in doing that, I slipped on that rock.
Yeah.
And if we just stayed over here doing what we were doing, wouldn't have slipped.
Right.
But I had to go, I'm trying something out. And all of a sudden it's uncomfortable. I failed. I didn't get the result I wanted. Or, you know, someone comes up and something goes on with the health, physical, mental, spiritual health. And you're like, man, I'm feeling so connected to God or my spirit right now. And I'm feeling so grounded. And you're looking for an anchor. Mm-hmm. All right, what things maybe we need to start practicing doing together more? If we're the one rolling, can we have the courage, I guess is the best word, maybe, to go, I'm going to experience this with my partner who's lagging behind on this right now. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to judge him on that or go, na boo boo, why are you so far behind? Because I'm mature enough. We're not playing score anymore. It's like who's doing better and who's doing. We're past that. If we're in a relationship, right? Yeah. But how do we go? Let's do it together. And can some of my self-significance now come through seeing you get your own? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how is that? And that service maybe to you or your service to me actually does serve me and does serve you. Tough thing to trust.
Really tough.
Because I know I got to watch, man, when I'm rolling or feeling really strong, I kind of want to be the only one in the wheel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, this is great. Does everyone want to ride? And somebody's like, no, I'd like to drive a little bit. You know? Right. You're like, right now?
Or I hate this road.
Yeah. I
hate this town.
And I don't want to be in the left lane going so fast. Can we just pull over and kind of sightsee?
Yeah. Because I told you that 10 miles ago, you're not listening yet.
But honey, look, we're making great time. This is awesome. And I love driving. Well, great. What are we in a rush for? You love driving. We're going to get there in the best time ever. You're going to win. But can't we just pull over and sightsee? And can we see that there's a victory in that too? That someone else may have another measurement of what they're calling their victory.
Yeah.
You know, what they're calling what's a win for them.
That's good. Their win is different. And their experience is different. Their emotion is different. Yeah. Learning to tune in, ask the question in advance, acknowledge and praise, but also just meeting someone where they're at is so hard. Yeah, it's a good one. When you're dealing with now, like you're processing a hard time. Yeah. Like in the book you talk about, hey, you took this break from what people knew McConaughey as, you're going to take a break from rom-coms or whatever types of films and roles. Yeah. And then you're facing, the silence and you're facing the desert. Right. And you're wondering what's going on and the finances aren't the same anymore. When you are processing difficulty, processing tough choices, what are you saying to yourself to survive that? Because I know you had support in your marriage. Right. You were talking about that in the book, but like, what's that internal dialogue? Because I think when people are in hardship, actually, I think a lot of people right now, they're discouraged. Yeah. They've tried to pivot their career, their life, they're uncertain, they're feeling doubtful. I mean, it's time right now to process its difficulty. Yeah. It's hard. There's some hardship. What do you say to yourself? What's that self-talk that you think helps you?
This too shall pass. That doesn't mean be complacent. That doesn't mean leave it up to fate. That actually means, it will pass, but I could also got a chance of getting out of here healthier and more constructively and sooner if I put my hands on the wheel as well. And take some agency to start one step at a time, especially coming out of what we've been coming out of. A lot of people were rolling and then interrupted by COVID and disruption, and for 4 years are now,
yes.
And they want to come back in. They want to go right back to where they were. And we're going, oh, geez, I can't hop right back on the freeway where I was or right back in the left lane. I got to take some steps. And so it takes a lot of patience with self, constructive patience. When it's overwhelming to me, I do tell myself this is going to pass. This is a blip in time. In the big picture, it sounds monstrous to me right now. I feel like the world's revolving around me. This is a specific problem of mine that nobody else has. And woe be me. But I'm like, what I usually do is I go, you're going to die one day, bro.
Right.
And then all of a sudden that relaxes me in a way where I'm like, now I can start dealing with this better.
Mortality's the best perspective checker.
It's such a good one. Now we run from it, but I do think that projection to there is a really healthy projection.
I do it all the time. That's
it's
my
really
secret.
good.
Yeah.
You know? And to go, so what's this? So this mortal sweat I'm breaking, what's the big deal? You know what I mean? So, and it helps me deal more. And the problem that is you think maybe ruin turns into something more realistic, like just an honest rejection. Mm-hmm. It brings it down to size to be able to navigate it better and to be able to process, figure out how to get through it better. It does help with perspective. I also, again, going back to what I was saying earlier, if I'm in a troubled time, some of my amnesty mental think is a little what I was saying earlier of, this is going to be a good story. Right. One day, not yet.
Yeah.
One day, I trust that I'll look back on this and go, remember that?
I love that.
And just with the right smile to myself, go, just trust that, bro. Trust that. Now, some of people may be going, you still hadn't said how the hell do you get out of it? I'm talking about just how to cope with dealing and not be paralyzed by the mounting pressure that the dire need, or this is it, or else. Because again, very seldom is it really ruin.
Right.
It's often rejection, but very seldom is it the ruin. So I don't let myself get into that.
And I think the regret will come up if you don't engage it.
Find out if you don't.
Find out.
And then the beautiful thing can happen though. And it happened to me in that year in Australia that I had with the very odd family where I was mentally going insane and imploding. About 8 months into that, I had lost my grease. My differential was split.
Really?
About 8 months into it, though, of writing 14-page letters to myself and returning letters to myself, there were 16 pages in very small writing with long run-on sentences and way too many adjectives and adverbs.
You were young. You got
why? But I was going through. I was imploding.
Were you imploding because the way they treated you, or because you sensed something was false and off? I mean, it could be both, but
I had no identity. I had no judgment. Everything that was happening to me, I kept chalking it up to a cultural difference. Oh, maybe that's something I need. Maybe I need to. Maybe that's me. When in hindsight,
you felt like you weren't fitting in.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So in hindsight, I look back and I'll go like, bullshit, man. That was them. Yeah. But I didn't know it then. But at 8 months into that, and a similar thing happened when I took the 2 years off for the rom-com. There came after about a year and a half of that, and then after 8 months of the year in Australia, I started to get a little bit of pride in my endurance. Right. I started to get some identity in the fact that I was on this pilgrimage of penance.
Yes.
And there was I kind of feel like the longer this goes on, the bigger the reward's going to be on the other side.
The strength through the struggle starts developing.
Stronger and going I'm building some calluses, man.
Yeah.
I'm building strength. I got no one to rely on but me. And I don't even know who the hell I am right now, but I know that's all I can rely on. Even that turned into where all of a sudden I started to gain a little steam. And it wasn't like I didn't want it to end. It was like, I want this to end tomorrow, please. But if it doesn't, I'm getting stronger now.
Because I've endured.
Have a better story.
Yeah, that's true. It's a great chapter in the book.
But I'll be living a better story because of this happened to me. And that's what I mean, probably the coup de grace of this.
Yeah.
Trusting that this penance I am going through, it's got a gift in it. I don't think that's delusional optimism. It damn well got a gift in it. And if it goes on for long enough, it's really got a gift in it.
Yes.
That gift may be realized next week, next year, 20 years from now. It may be realized after we leave this life and our kids or their kids realize a gift from a great pain and crisis that we happen in our life. So if we can expand our timeline and even go beyond, get on our deathbed, gifts can come generationally in other people's lives of pain and crisis we go through. And I trust that. Not 100% clearly all the time, but I go back to that often and go, this is hard, but trust there's a gift here. You're given a green light somewhere to somebody. Either by the pain and stress that you're going through, someone will learn something from it. What you lost will pay someone else back later.
Yeah, I love extending the timeline. Yeah, that's good. Because the sacrifice you're feeling now, the struggle you're feeling now, the payoff may or may not be for you, but it might be for something down the line that you didn't even see for that grandkid or that future.
Yeah.
We have this phrase in my work called honor the struggle.
Yeah.
So when you're struggle, you honor it. Honoring means you acknowledge it. Okay, this is real. This is in front of me. And I'm going to honor it by engaging it, not making the problem bigger than the personhood, but saying, okay, can the person handle this problem?
Right.
Can I engage just a little bit? Because a struggle is going to strengthen me. It's going to teach me new skill. It's going to make me better, even if I don't know why or how or when. But I'm going to honor the struggle as it's real. It's put in front of me. And he might have a plan. I don't know why he gets
son of a bitch.
He put this mountain in front of me. I wasn't even out for a hike, God. Yeah. I didn't even want to hike, but you put a mountain here. Yeah. It's like,
or I created it myself, and I go back in time and see exactly where I created it.
Yeah. Honor that reality that this is a thing.
Yeah.
You've got to deal with thing, and if you deal with the thing now, you develop strength. It's the same like I work with a lot of elite military, and they say the same thing: embrace the suck.
Right.
If the suck is there, if you embrace it, you get stronger through it. If you don't, you're in the battle, you're out.
Look, I've got a friend who looks for chaos and crisis because then he feels alive. You talked about aliveness and connectivity and meaningfulness. I don't go that far. I'm not that far where I'm looking for trouble or looking for a problem just so I can solve it. But I'm also curious if you go to that extent. Mm-hmm. And my mom's got a little bit of this. She can handle that stuff so well that actually, when things are going smooth, or everything's too kumbaya,
let me see if I can break it.
Or too much in order, she'll break it just to
break
go.
It. Right.
And you're like, Jays, but you saw in my book, my mom's like that. She likes life, the tidal waves of life.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's you, Mom. I like a little more of a river with some streams and some rapids, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so I've seen, that's the other extreme there of going and absolutely loving chaos. But the one I think you're talking about that most of us have to deal with, the majority, is the previous one, the one on the first half of, oh, this problem is bigger than me. Mm-hmm. Oh, I can't handle it. Why me? I'll never get out of this. And that leans into that being victimized.
Yeah.
But I do think that just that simple math of going, we're all victims. Mm-hmm. Victims happen. I don't know. I've had a couple things already today that can go my way. It was like, you could say, okay, yep, you were a victim of that. Or that was done unto you. Mm-hmm. And it isn't ideal. It isn't how you wanted it. It wasn't what you expected. Mm-hmm. I mean, life's just too random for us not to all be victims of something. But doesn't mean you got to make it a capital V.
Right.
Doesn't mean you got to put it in bold print and go, oh my God. It's like some of these. It's when I talk about in the book. I want to talk about yellow lights. There's a choice. That's the life choice. Is at the yellow light. Yellow light's the most like life. You got two choices.
Yes.
Green go, red stop. But yellow, you can either heed the caution and slow down and gear down, because hopefully you kind of need to do a little inventory. Mm-hmm. But just as important of a choice is going, I'm putting the pedal to the metal, man, blowing this thing. I'm not going to give credit to the crisis.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let myself be victimized. Because if I stop there, I might start to wallow. Mm-hmm. I'm not giving that caution credit. So sometimes it's just blowing the yellow light and going, no, I'm not. That wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
Again, I've had 1,000 crises in my life. Most of them never happened. That's very true.
Right.
So don't acknowledge some of these ones.
Yeah. The question is, I think we have to ask ourselves, are we progressing through life struggles, through life circumstances, unfairnesses, challenges? Yeah. It's like we're going it. And then, if things are going really great and you keep breaking it because there's chaos, that you want, that you thrive on.
Yeah.
Sometimes that comes from competence, like, oh, I'm just good at managing that. I need that.
Yeah.
I need that edge.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of sports figures do this. They have to create chaos because they're so good with the edge.
Create the resistance to overcome the obstacle.
But there's a difference. If you need chaos, it's usually maladaptive.
What's maladaptive?
It means it's coming from a place where you're trying to wreck things because something else isn't quite right.
Okay.
But if you need challenge, now that can be conscious.
Right.
I can choose to make things more difficult and progressively lift up the challenge. I can make things challenging in my life without wrecking everybody else's.
Right.
Right? So there's responsible levels of challenge that you are getting better. You're getting more competence. You're contributing better. You're doing your art better. You're becoming a master worker at whatever you're doing. And you keep leveling it up. And leveling it up consciously means you're not blowing up your life and everybody else's life. If you just keep blowing up everybody's life because you need that chaos, then it's a little bit maladaptive, is what they would say in the coaching world.
Yeah.
You know, without
Again,
labeling.
There's you got to be considerate with the consequences.
Yeah.
Because I know I do plenty of stuff where I'm like, I'll be able to handle that. As I said earlier, what tickles me may bruise you, but I need to measure. Well, that's going to have repercussions on other people in my life.
Yeah. High performance, literally the way we defined it in the research, was it means you achieve long-term success while maintaining well-being and healthy relationships. It means you achieve over the long term and you don't wreck your health and you don't wreck relationships on a consistent basis. Because if you do that, you'll underperform in the end game.
And you just revolving instead of evolving. Yeah.
I love green lights. I love the concept of what you're doing. I'm really excited you're like going so strongly into allowing yourself some of that, prescriptive, like, hey, here's ways to deal with. Here's the art of living from my perspective. Yeah. And so, I want to make sure to give a shout out to Dean and Tony and this whole crew that you're working on with doing the art of living. And you got this upcoming, live event. How did you end up kind of getting into that where you're like, okay, I got this book.
Yeah.
And now you have this live event and this opportunity to share more of your philosophy, which is courageous and a risk. So I'm wondering what your process was to say, I want to teach more.
I was asked to. Mm-hmm. How about a singular person by thousands of readers were going, okay, man, I love the approach in your book and it's helped me here and here, but I wish could you get more granular with me? I'm finding green lights in my life, but I'm not sure which ones to trust. Yellow lights, man, it seems like sometimes it was easy for you to know when to slow down or push the pedal to the metal. Was it easy? Because that decision's got me going, well, I'm not sure, man. Do I put the pedal to the metal and blow it or do I slow down? And then the stuff you talk about, red lights, like there's a gift in the red light. What? How? So I got asked, can you go into that more?
Love it.
Simultaneously, Dean and Tony come to me and say, look, we're fans of the book and the approach. Would you be interested in getting more prescriptive in showing how it can be more granular and the tool, how to get into how to tool, the tools for catching green lights, the tools for navigating yellow and red lights, and the tools for choosing what to do at the yellow lights. And I was like, yeah, this has gotten more grounded, and this sounds like a way that I can personally share with people ways they can go, oh no, I see how I can use that in my life this afternoon with this decision.
Yes.
So we're gonna be getting under the hood, talking about the process of how to create green lights, process of how to navigate a red light, process of making the right choice at the yellow light in ways that were more of an approach of looking at it in the book.
That's great.
So what we're doing on the 24th is we're going to get under the hood of the process to try to make it more practical for people to understand in their own lives.
I love that. There's that move from almost like a memoir, and here's my stories of how I dealt with it, to, hey, we're all dealing with these things in our life. Here's some thinking tools
that you can
to how to process that.
So you can deal
with
whatever it is going on in your own life.
I'm excited to see you doing that. Something that uniquely happens after you've written a book. And I wonder if you get that.
Yeah, I got pulled into it. I mean, I'm working on stuff now that's a different book, but I got asked, and I kept getting asked.
Yeah.
And the questions became consistent.
Yeah.
And I was getting pulled in to go, can we go a level deeper into even more of the pragmatic in the process of this? And then just after that is when Dean and Tony reached out, and I was like, you read my mail?
Yeah.
Yes, let's do this. And so we worked, got some great people, go on the 24th at 9 a.m. Pacific, and we're going to, for 4 or 5 hours, do this.
I love it. I love it. You know, what I love is that story you were telling about the person who had to come up and grab you and go, your book changed my life.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think anything does it more than a book. My agent used to say, he says, people watch your video, they'll watch your movie, they'll watch your course, they'll watch your documentary, they'll listen to your podcast, they'll do that. But a book, they take you to bed with them.
Right.
You know?
I like that.
It's you're in their brain for 4 to 7 hours.
It's
with
a different kind of investment.
Different kind. And so, I mean, I think I've got 30 online courses and, you know, all these videos, but the number one thing I always get feedback is the books.
Right.
It's always, it's a different relationship.
Yeah.
And I was excited when you came out with your book, because when I read Green Lights, I was like, oh, I have a different relationship with who I assumed this person to be, but also there's so much value and gold in this. I'm excited to see you take a next level and be online. And of course, everyone watching, there's a link in this video that you can click on to join free on April 24th.
That's right. That's the other thing. It's free.
It's free.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
It's just reaching a lot of people with a message that is needed right now. I'd love to ask this last question that is important to me personally. You know, I got into self-improvement because of a car accident. And that car accident kind of taught me I didn't know who I was. And I didn't know what I wanted of life. And I kind of learned that my mortality was going to be defined by the questions I asked of my life at the end. Because I had to face my life. So it's like, did I really live my life? Did I really love others? Did I matter? And so part of my mantra became these 3 words of live, love, and matter. And, you know, it's, you know, 24 years on my wrist now. Do you have like words that you try to live into, that you try to grow into? Some people would say it's like the words that you'd have on a tombstone, or it's the words that kind of guide your intention each day. Is it a set of words? Is it a set of thoughts that you feel like, hey, that's really kind of how I'm trying to be that guy or live that kind of life, or these words are important to me? We call them the 3 words in my world. Is there 3 that you would say are relevant?
I mean, I love unpacking all kinds of lyrics, bumper stickers, and one-liners, but the one that's been with me since it came to me right after my father passed away, that has always passed the stress test, no matter what situation, is just keep living. Just keep living. At the end of it, what else are we going to do? Now, can that mean daily make the most life-affirming choices? Yeah, it can mean that. Can it mean to the agoraphobic to get out of the house, man, go across the street, go get the mail? That might be just keep living. Can it mean to the 18-year-old extrovert who loves to party and is a social animal to maybe stay home one Thursday night and read a book? Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe that's it for that person. And then on a spiritual level, you're not gone after you leave this life. My dad passed away. He was physically gone. That's what Just Keep Living came from, because I've tried to maintain a relationship with him and live into become the man that he was taught me to be, to honor his moving on from this life. Mm-hmm. So to keep him immortal. So that finish line being, which is a long way to project, what's our eulogy, what's the deathbed? We can even go, what if we go a couple generations past it? How far can we go past it to go, those lessons, those gifts can come even later. I can be honoring, will my children honor me after I'm left this life through what hopefully I'm teaching them, they're learning from me and their mother now in our household. I want to be around and hopefully see it'll make me very proud and honored to see them go in this life, to be alive in this life and see them go become individuals and see who they are in character and success, of how they live, how they treat people and treat themselves. And go, I think we had something to do with that, honey. And then for them one day to come back and go, thank you.
What an opportunity. Just keep living.
Yeah.
Everybody watching The Art of Living, Matthew McConaughey, Dean Graziosi, Tony Robbins, April 24th. It's free. Link in this video. Make sure you watch it and join McConaughey. Just keep living.
Appreciate it.
So dang good.
Enjoy that.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with me and Matthew McConaughey. And do yourself a favor. Go to growthday.com/art of living, or click the link in this description of this video to attend for free. It's April 24th. It's Matthew McConaughey and my friends Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins really laying out a plan for how you can take some concepts that Matthew shares in both his book, Green Lights, and some of the concepts we covered in this interview today. It's a free live event with millions of people registered. You can go to growthday.com/art of living to attend free. Again, that link is in the description of this video. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you did, share it with somebody today, and I'll see you in Growth Day soon.